Hi, I'm Charcy Curtis. Some of you may know me as Sister Diva out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. This is the IM4GOD Movement podcast where we talk to everyday people about their testimony. Today, I have a family member, my cousin. I call her Dee. Dee, let her know, explain what you got going on today and let the people know how to get in contact with you.
So first, it's good to be here with you, and
Thank you for coming. I love you,
my cousin. So I have several things going on. Of course, we have Heal the Veil that we moved the date to October the 1st. We moved it to 2110 Fort Bragg Road because we got ranked out. So I did bring you and my little cousin a shirt.
Oh, thank you.
So it says Heal the Veil. The back of it says gun violence is the real pandemic.
Okay.
So you guys.
Where can they get these shirts from?
So you guys can go to 2110 Fort Bragg Road to JS Designs. You guys can reach out to us through social media, my Facebook page, Demetria Murphy, and purchase a T-shirt if you would like to purchase a T-shirt. We have children and adult sizes. Okay. I also have my own nonprofit. It's called Why Dig, where we work with youth in the community. We have kind of took some different avenues now. We do a lot of more one-on-one direct speaking with youth, families, and parents and things of that nature to kind of help them get on the right track. I have a team that works with me, Jason, Carl, Cutter, Brandon. So it's a really, really good team that works with me doing that to provide those real life interventions to youth. I'm super excited that Kurt Devier and I and Jesse Garner, we started working on an initiative that I've been trying to work on forever, which is going into the prison systems, doing an assessment of their reentry policies and the process so that we can find the gaps. So once we find those gaps, we're able to alleviate some of the barriers for individuals that are coming home from prison. So I'm super excited about that initiative, to be able to be a part of that change, to change policies, procedures, and laws. Even though my focus is a lot of federal level, I have to start at the state level in order to exceed to that level of being able to make those changes for individuals that are coming home from federal prison. Just providing a bunch of education to people, because you can't hold somebody accountable if they really don't know.
Okay. And you do hair.
I do. Yes,
so
I'm an entrepreneur.
You gotta tell them about that.
I do hair. I'm at 5338 Yakin Road. Doing hair is my therapy. It's my passion. So a lot of times people ask me, as I continue to grow academically, pursuing my PhD now in criminal justice and having my bachelor's and my master's in social work, and just being a newly licensed clinical substance abuse associate, will I continue to do hair? And I have to tell them that I will. Because everything that I do in the community as an advocate, or everything that I do just to see people win, it's heavy.
Yeah, it is.
So when I get behind the chair and I'm able to interact with my clients one-on-one, that helps me, you know. And also, I am a part of the Prove Project with Mr. Kevin Brooks. I love that project. I love that project because it is being established as a hub. It is being established as a contact point for individuals that don't have a contact point. You know, we say if you see something, say something. But sometimes people are afraid to say what they see. So if you're comfortable with someone, I might can pick up the phone and say, hey, Chauncey, listen, you know, down the street from my house, this is what's going on. I don't want to get involved, but something need to be done. So now you're passing that information on to someone else who can come in, see what's going on, see what we can do to help them down the street from your house. You know, we're not working for the police. We're not snitching to the police. We're not doing any of those things. Our goal is to help the community. You know, so I love that project. Kudos to Kevin for everything that he's doing for that project, all the hits that he take, all the great adventures that he take, everything, you know, because it is a big, big project, you know. So
as I see, you wear a lot of hats.
I do.
And people think that when we do hair, that's the only thing we do, not knowing there's other stuff come with that.
Yeah, on top of being a mother.
Well, see, y'all know how to get in contact with her. You can inbox her, check her out for everything that all things she said she needs, and she got so much more coming. But we're gonna get into these questions. So the first question is, how was it for you growing up as a child?
So for me growing up as a child, I would have to say that it was great with tribulations.
Okay.
I grew up kind of middle class at first. I grew up not really wanting for nothing. Like my mom cleaned my room till I was like 11 years old, you know, so I grew up the only child. You know, everybody know that them and my brothers and my sisters and stuff. My other sister, I never got the opportunity to meet her. So I grew up very sheltered. You know, I didn't know anything about the hood. The most I knew about anything was going to my grandmother's house in Groveview Terrace in the summer to go to Camp Rock Fish and, you know, play and stuff. Yeah. As far that was all I knew. I didn't know that was a project. I just thought it was apartments. You know what I'm saying?
We had a ball there.
We had a ball going over there playing. You know. So when my mom eventually started meeting people, she began to meet the wrong people. So then my mom got addicted to drugs. So then my life changed. So then I went from having everything I wanted to not having anything at all. And as like we was talking, and like I told you, I come to realize that through my life, my childhood experiences, I realized that as children, as parents, a lot of times our kids make decisions based off what we do.
Right.
So my decisions and choices were fueled by my mom being addicted to drugs, seeing these different drug dealers come in and out of our home, seeing the things that they had and the things that I no longer had. So in turn, I ended up selling drugs. And that's why I was telling you, my grandmother used to tell me all the time she knew what I was doing, and I was always saying she didn't know what I was doing. So when she finally just was like, yeah, I know what you're doing. And I was like, well, Grandma, if I ever go to prison, I'm going to federal prison. State ain't got nothing for me.
And words is powerful.
And words are powerful.
And that goes on with my next question. What would you say, did jail make you or break you?
I would have to say because I went so young that in the beginning, it had no effect on me. Okay. When I first went to federal prison, I went to Artists and Women Camp. I felt like I was in college. We stayed in cottages and, you know, we skated and, I mean, like, we just lived life in there. We just couldn't leave, you know? I didn't feel like I was incarcerated. Okay. You know, I was going to GED and, you know, so it was just like, I was in this space that I couldn't leave. Okay. So I felt like I still tried to manipulate and beat the system. So then when I came home, I still thought I was smarter than the system. Okay. Then I went back on a violation, and that's when I began to understand what God really meant for me. Right. And it wasn't going back and forth to prison. But what I tell people is you got to realize, even in the midst of you changing, there are things that may come up that you have to address. Yes. And that was my breaking point because I went back on my violation and I began my process to change. Prison began to, I was in a place, God put me in a place where I could hear him. I could sit down, I could focus, I could find my values, my mission, who I was. So when I came home that time, I was in the process of changing and I got in an abusive relationship. That relationship sent me back to prison, not because of actions of my own, but because of his actions and me being a felon. Right. So that sent me back, but I needed that to break away from that relationship. So we got to be careful how we pray because all I would say is, you know, Lord, take me out of this situation. Take me out. I never asked him to spare my life. I never asked him not to send me back to prison. I just asked him to take me out of it. So me going back to prison, that was his way to take me out of it. And I thank God that he spared my life through it. Right. And that was his method to take me out of it. Right. So I had to face that going back to prison on an indictment for something I had nothing to do with. But I needed that to really get myself aligned and focused.
And like I like to tell people too, like God knows what we need best. And if he got to take you away from the streets to get your attention, he would do just that. But you got to pay attention to signs. And that's your time that you're supposed to have with him so he can make you a better person. So whenever you do come back out, you working straight for him. Because when he lets you out, you already know what time it is. Absolutely. And he has the last say. So like I tell people all the time, like, how would you not have a relationship with somebody that can say, today you live or today you die? Right. So can you tell the people about the Butterfly Sisters?
Yes, so I love my Butterfly Sisters. I went to prison. So I caught my federal charge when I was 19. You had to be 20 to go on federal grounds. Okay. So my birthday is January the 1st, January the 2nd is when I got sentenced.
Okay.
So when I reached prison, I began to meet women who poured into me because, like I said, I was young. And I learned then where God said people will plant the seed and then somebody will come along and water it.
Yes.
Seeds were being planted in Alderson. Then when I went to Tallahassee, seeds were being planted. Then when I went to Coleman, like Wasika, Hazleton, all these different prisons I went to, seeds began to get planted in me and people began to water those seeds. So coming home, Angie Brooks and Tashani and Trishan, they got together and they started what we are called now the Butterfly Sisters.
Okay.
So what we do is we all get together once a year for a weekend and we take over whatever city, and our goal is to touch all 50 states.
Okay.
And we take over. We went to Mississippi last year and it was the Butterfly Sisters take over Mississippi. I didn't get to go this year to Texas with them, but they took over Texas. Next year we'll be taking over Miami.
Okay.
So this is for women who have been incarcerated, who've been incarcerated in a federal prison, because you at your most vulnerable moment there. We see you struggling with your children when they don't want to listen to you because you're incarcerated. We see women who are in prison because they love the wrong man and because they wouldn't tell.
Right.
We see women come in there with life sentences behind something that does not equate to all of that. We see women who don't get to see their kids, lose custody of their children, lose touch with their families. We see women get beat. We see women got raped. We see it all.
So it's just for federal women, or if you've been to jail here, state and federal?
So it's just for federal women. However, like I was telling you, we all hold our own views on that. We have our Facebook Messenger page, the Butterfly Sisters. Like I said, and I'll add, anybody who's been to federal prison, I'll add them to that. For me, I will not add anybody who's never been to prison.
I feel you on that.
Other people in the group, they will. This year they did open it up to people who've never been incarcerated.
I feel like that's y'all personal time together to behind the stuff. So, I agree about that.
And it is, as I was speaking with one of my other sisters, Trina, and, we talked about that, and like she said, there's things that she experienced while she was in prison that she hasn't even gave to her family.
Right.
There's moments in there that you may not want nobody to know.
Right.
And then if we just be real honest, some people come because they nosy.
Yeah, really.
And they just want to see, they want to be a part of something. But this sisterhood means a lot to us.
Yeah.
It means a lot because we might not have got along in there on Monday, but Tuesday we was making sure everybody ate.
Yeah.
So for me, if you've never been to prison, I'm not going to add you.
Right.
Somebody else can add you, but it won't be me because that's sacred to us.
So those that want to know, please inbox her, because me, myself, I heard about it. And that's why I was like, please acknowledge the people, because, that's something that we need. People need to know because they be feeling lonely. They don't have anybody can relate to. So that's really good for the young lady that started that. How did you turn your pain into power?
Losing my mother. I can honestly say that you hear people say, oh, your mother's in heaven, she's smiling down on you. But everybody wants their parent to tell them, well done, good job. Everybody wants their parent to see them do something exceptionally well. I can honestly say that my mother only seen me go to prison. She didn't see me accomplish anything. So when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, I had to break that cycle. Because I want my daughter to be proud of me, but I want to be here so I can be proud of her. I want her to understand the value of people. My mother's favorite scripture was Hebrews. And it was, be careful how you entertain people because you could be entertaining an angel.
Oh, yeah.
So I make it my business to tell my daughter, respect people. I don't care if they homeless, drug addicts, or what.
Yeah.
Somebody care about them and somebody love them.
Yeah, you can be in them same shoes.
Right. And my daughter quickly, she'll tell somebody, when you don't want to share with a homeless person or you don't want to share with somebody, she tell them real quick, you blocking your blessings.
Oh, yeah. That's so true. Yeah.
So that allowed me to turn my pain into passion.
Okay. What would you, if you could change one thing in your life, what would it be and why?
I don't feel like I would change anything. I feel like sometimes if I could redo some things, I would redo some things, but it wouldn't be changing them.
Okay.
When my mother was pregnant with me, that was back when they had the house meetings. And a prophetess told my mother, she was like, "You're pregnant with a seed of blessing." And that I was born on January the 1st. I believe that my trials and my walks was designed for me.
Yeah.
To make me who I am. To make me able to take my pain and turn it into passion. So I wouldn't change anything. I always wonder, had I not dropped out of school in the 7th grade, where would I be as a straight A student? Had I not allowed, my choices and decisions to lead me to the streets, where would I be? I wouldn't change those because I know what it's like to have, and I know what it's like to not know where your next meal is coming from.
Right.
I feel like it's made me relatable.
Okay, the next question. What was that time you realized God was real to you without a shadow of a doubt?
So we were living in Raleigh, and there was a neighborhood called Washington Terrace. Okay. We lived on Carver Street, and it was like raining outside, and like wasn't no money coming. Like I was just learning how to sell drugs, so I really didn't know what I was doing. And I was hungry and I was cold. I ain't had nowhere to go. This guy pulled up and he was like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right." He was like, "Come on, let me go get you something to eat." Now, normally you just not gonna hop in the car with a stranger.
Right.
But I was hungry. So I got in the car, we got some food. We went to an apartment in Washington Terrace. Want no furniture in this apartment. He gave me a blanket and a pillow. I slept in the living room in the corner on the floor. When I woke up the next day, wasn't nobody in this apartment but me. Never seen this man again in my life. The man never touched me or anything. 2 weeks later, my mother moved into that same apartment.
Oh, wow.
I knew then that God was real.
That's it. If God was to ask you, did you find joy in this life, what would you say?
I would say that yes and no. I would say yes and no because sometimes I don't feel like I'm operating at my fullest potential. So when you don't operate at your fullest potential, you don't feel like you have true joy. But when I look at my daughter, and if I'm going through something and she lifts me up, that's the best joy you can ever have.
Right.
So my answer would be yes and no.
Okay. If God was to ask you, have you brought joy to anyone? What would you say?
I would say that I definitely brought joy to people. I would say the biggest reward was getting into the mental health field. So when I got into the mental health behavior field, I worked with children. So to try to instill things in them because I knew what my life was like. And I also know what our parents tell us, you wait till you have one. Or, the little acronyms they used to always give us. And a lot of times they think when we become parents that we don't know nothing, we ain't never did nothing, we just always been grown and old. And as I was pouring into those kids, they didn't want to hear it at the time. And neither did we.
Right.
But when they would age out of the system, or when they would successfully complete the system, group homes and stuff, and I would get messages from them like, "Miss Demetria, thank you." So many young girls that I have mentored being in the mental health behavioral, working in levels 3 and 4 and PRTF group homes. I was the mother to them. And they let me know that. And if I could, I would make it to anything that they invited me to. Whether it be the christening for their children, whether it be their graduations. It didn't matter what it was. If they wanted me there, I made it my business to be there.
Yeah, that's important.
And to this day, I go through so many phones because I never turn my phone off. Because I don't know when one of them might need me.
Right.
I have one who literally would say every day in the group home, when I get out, I'm coming to live with you. And she did just that. To this day, she called me her mother. I've met her biological mother. And we have an amazing relationship because why? Where she couldn't reach her, I could.
Right. Like I tell people, it's no parent book. So wherever you meet a person to help them, that's most important.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. And another question I have is, how do you feel about when people put God and money in the same sentence?
I feel like we have moved so far away from saving souls to worshiping a building.
Yeah.
Passing around offering plates, that when people from the community come and need help, the help is limited to none. And it's like, what are we doing? Because God said he gave to the least of those.
Oh yeah.
So what are we doing? It's funny because I had a conversation with someone and they were saying that they believe that their pastor should drive nice cars. They believe that their pastor should have these nice things. And I'm saying to myself, I don't disagree with you because God said that he will bless you abundantly for following him. So I don't disagree with you. What I disagree with is when you have a 90-year-old living on a fixed income who takes all her money and give it to the church.
Yeah, I agree.
And then somebody has to come and bring her boxes of food.
Yeah. And it's not from the church.
It is not from the church.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because I like to put it, if you go to the Word, Jesus hung in the ghetto, okay, and he didn't have people pay him to heal them or feed them or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So the question, like I like to tell people all day, who are you serving? Because it's not like me, you serving man.
Right.
And if God wanted whoever to have it, he's going to make a way
for them to have it.
So you put a price on God and you make people feel like I can't afford him. When he's not a price, he's free.
Right.
He's free, available anytime.
Yeah. It goes back to a lot of times when you're in church and the offering plate comes around and, it's one of those things where people literally feel like less than if they don't have to give. Right. And that's not good. You know, it's not good. I've been frequenting this one church, and I really like it. I like it. They don't play the political game. No politicians are finna come in there and talk to their congregation. And they're offering, their monthly dues for their members are $5. Their apostle was not even getting no money. Like no money. You understand what I'm saying? Because she truly wanted to do what God wanted her to do.
And save souls. Like that's what it's all about.
Right.
And they got away from it so much. It's sad. And I hear some people say, well, I can't afford this, or they're too uppity over there, or I feel less than. I'm like, no, that's a cult.
Yeah.
That ain't got nothing to do with God. And if you that's why I always say, even with IM4GOD, it's about get your own relationship with him.
God.
Get in that word. Get the reading, get connected to him, ask him for whatever it is you want, and watch how he change you and clean you up in a way that only he can do.
Yeah, like my pastor that I love, Reverend Curiton Johnson, and his wife, I literally felt like the black sheep going into that family. Like I was just coming home from prison, like I was in the transition. I was in the transition of my indictment. That's when I met Reverend Dorrance Kennedy and his family. He baptized me. And First Lady Ms. Lena Johnson, me coming to that church, I didn't have the best of the best to wear. I went with what I got. That's what he said.
It's supposed to be, yeah, and that's how it's
and to have members like, well, you're not supposed to wear that bra with that shirt. How do you know that's the only bra I had? You know what I'm saying? Go buy me one if you feel like that's what I need to wear. So when we would have different functions in the church, they wouldn't want me to work with them. And she would say, come on, Demetria, come with me. Right. And she would just love on me, like just so pure. Like I've never in my life met a woman of God that was just pure like that. Like she's not no angel and innocent, but when I say just her spirit, you know what I'm saying? Like she would literally be like, come on, Demetria, come with me. So she would always just take me to work with her. But I guarantee you, like if the food pantry got low or the clothes closet got low, I was working with Miss Ada on Murchison Road. I would literally tell my clients, bring in non-perishable items, bring in gently worn clothes. And when you bring it in, I'm going to give you a percentage off on your hair so that I can restock back the food pantry or restock back, the clothes closet.
Okay.
Because I just love being around her. I love being in her presence because I felt God in her presence. Right. And I felt like I was growing in her presence. And before I ended up having to self-surrender back to prison, like I told you, I got indicted and all that stuff. Literally, she sat me down and she said, you were meant to be here at this church. She said, because you were a chain breaker. She said, so many people sitting here and drive nice cars, got big houses and all of this, and act like they've never done nothing wrong. She said, but you allow people to have a voice to say, Demetria, I messed up before too. But see, their ability to come to that point was her ability to love on me. They see her loving on me. They learning who I was, and then they begin to accept me and love on me. So it's non-judgmental how they act. It goes back to when Reverend Kennedy he preached a sermon one day that said, what would we do if the demon-possessed boy came in the door?
Yeah. That's true.
So...
If you had one thing to tell the world, what would you tell them?
I think the biggest thing that I would tell the world is don't be afraid of education. Don't be afraid to say that you don't know. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to learn. Like I told you, I learned today what this new Yes movement is that they want to put on the ballot. Voting is important.
Yes, it is.
It's very important. Like I said, when you don't know, we can't hold you accountable. But if the education is out there and you're just wanting to be naive to it, then yes, we can hold you accountable to that. Right. It's imperative. Right. So I want to break down what that is so that the people will know what it is. You can call it the 5-4. So we have 9 districts. If the yes goes on the ballot, it will take that 9 and split it to 5-4. It will be 5 city council seats that will be voted in. Then it will be 4 that will be at large. So what that means is like Mitch is our mayor, he's at large, meaning that his concerns is the whole city. Right. So those 4 people, their concerns will be the whole city, not just a particular district. Okay. The 5 that will be left, their concerns will be, of course, the district. So for me, I think that it's something that's much needed to give fresh eyes. Okay. I think that when we look at city council or the judicial system, we allow people to be seated too long sometimes. Right. And when the world is evolving, they need to either evolve with it or acknowledge that it's time for them to step down and allow fresh eyes to come in. I mean, it's the same thing on the Superior Court level. Those are for life seats. So you have people that are sitting on the Supreme Court that are 100 years old. Things have changed. Yeah. So it's imperative, if we want to see a change, we have to make a change. We can't expect people to come in and save our neighborhoods, our cities, or any of that. Yeah. First, as nonprofits, we need to learn how to work together. Yeah, exactly. For the greater good of the people. It doesn't matter if I don't like you. If we have a common goal, let's put that to the side, work together. Right. If we want people to have a fair chance coming home, then the Reentry Council, Fresh Start, Band the Box, and all these different people that work with reentry, why are you not working together? Right. If we want to change the narrative of the paper writing about young adults getting access to firearms and killing each other, right, then all these 50 million nonprofits that we got here that have one common goal when we apply for our 501(c)(3), which was which population do we serve at risk? We check that box. Right. Then we should all be working together, because guess why? If there's a kid out here who's getting in trouble and we all have something that's going on throughout the week, if we all take these kids and have them in each of these programs, where do they have time to get in trouble? They won't. Because if they're over here in your group on Monday, this group on Tuesdays and Thursday, this group on Wednesday and Friday, this one on Saturday, and then Sunday somebody taking them to church somewhere, or Sunday somebody entertaining them, where do they have time to get in trouble? They don't. Yeah, you're right. So for me, we need to first try to figure out comprehensively, holistically, and we need to really look at, are we a part of the problem or a part of the solution?
Right.
When we realize that, then we can establish our real 5013Cs to get out here and be boots to the ground, to give these young adults a voice. Because beef start on social media.
Yeah.
It don't start from them just seeing each other at the skating ring and shooting. So to allow my daughter, your daughter, somebody else's child to be on social media and see somebody arguing and be that sounding board and say, come on, man, we ain't got to take it there.
Yeah, we ain't got enough of them voices.
I would rather see them go back to fighting
They don't know how to do that. They're killing.
than killing each other.
Yeah. Yeah, you beat them up, they come to kill you. It's
Right.
crazy.
Let's get these kids involved in boxing. Let's get them involved in something to take out some of this aggression and this anger.
Right.
And one thing that I've learned, when you work with a kid, you work with their parents.
Yeah.
So let's see what the needs of the parents are.
Right.
Because God tells in his word, pride come before a downfall.
Definitely.
So if we're too prideful as a parent to say what we need, we're only going to continue to hurt our children.
Right. Well, I thank you so much, and congratulations on everything you're doing.
Thank you, cousin.
And like I said, y'all make sure y'all hit her up for all the information that she gave y'all. So the contact, we got to do better. And I want to thank everybody that tunes in to watch this IM4GOD Movement podcast. I love you, love you, love you. God loves you more. Until next time, see you again. Thank you.